In this video, we'll be looking in detail at task sessions, their matching, both automatic and manual, to events, and delegation of third-party responsibility for task completion. Earlier, we looked at the process for recording a service user's initial care plan. If you have not yet reviewed that video, you are strongly encouraged to do so, as familiarity with the task sessions and tasks that were defined in the care plan that we created for Eileen Douglas during that video will greatly assist in your understanding of the topics covered here. The final step of initial care plan creation was to publish the completed care plan. Here we see the result of that action with the initial entry in Eileen's care plans list now showing with an updated status, the date and time when it was published, and when it will become effective. You will notice that we are no longer able to edit or delete a care plan once it has been published. However, the contents of a care plan can be viewed in read-only form at any time by clicking here. You can also download the completed care plan as a PDF by selecting Current Care Plan from the Service User menu. In addition to the changes seen here on the Care Plan tab, publishing a care plan will also significantly affect the contents of the service user's calendar. By default, of course, the calendar shows the service user's diary for the current week. Eileen doesn't have any events scheduled yet, and her care plan, which controls the commencement of tasks, doesn't become effective until next week. So all we're seeing here are Eileen's morning, lunchtime, and evening med sessions, identified by these pill icons. If we jump forward to next week, we'll see a rather busier calendar, with Eileen's med sessions now joined by 3 daily task sessions, each denoted by the cup icon. The med sessions and task sessions have the same start times because we chose to copy the med slot times when populating the task sessions tab of Eileen's care plan. Notice how the cup icon for Eileen's evening task session includes the number 2. This denotes that at least one of the tasks due to be completed during these sessions will require 2 care workers. Remember that hoist into bed task that we assigned to the evening session? If you find this display a little too busy, you can choose to see only the med sessions or only the task sessions by clicking on the Options button and choosing the relevant mode. Let's select Tasks Only for now. Now we can more easily see the task sessions that have been scheduled for Eileen, with a summary of the number of tasks due to be performed in each case. Notice that the flexi tasks are enumerated separately. This is because these tasks aren't required to be performed during the session in the same way as the other tasks are. Clicking on a session will allow us to see in detail the associated tasks. Here we can see all of the tasks due to be performed for Eileen next Sunday morning. The tasks are listed in the order that they were given in the care plan, with the exception that flexi tasks always appear at the end of the list. Flexi tasks are denoted by this question mark icon with an italic font to emphasize the fact that completion is optional. Below each task, a summary of the recurrence pattern is shown. The green tick alongside tasks allows you to mark them as completed in the hopefully rare case that the care worker is unable to do this for themselves using the Platt mobile app, perhaps because their phone's battery is dead. In the same vein, these red crosses allow you to record on behalf of the care worker that they were unable to complete the corresponding task. You'll be required to specify a reason when choosing this option. We'll notice, however, that these buttons are all currently unavailable. This is because you cannot update the status of tasks if the session is not yet matched to an event. We'll talk about matching in just a moment. At the bottom of the task session dialog, we find a button marked Responsibility. This button is used to manage third-party responsibility for completing the tasks associated with this session. Perhaps Eileen spends Sundays with her daughter-in-law who takes responsibility for task completion during their time together. To record this, click Add, select a contact, and then choose the relevant contact from the list provided. If we leave Repeat unticked, Angie would only be responsible for completing tasks on the morning of Sunday, May the 22nd, 2022. Let's set up a recurring pattern of responsibility to reflect that Angie will be with Eileen all day, on every Sunday. The task session updates to indicate that Angie now has responsibility for the listed tasks. And if we go back to Eileen's diary, we can see a cross through her morning, lunchtime and evening sessions on Sunday. Platt will no longer attempt to match a suitable care event to these sessions on the basis that our care workers are not going to be required to perform the associated tasks. It's likely that, from time to time, the nominated third party will be unable to fulfill their duties, perhaps due to sickness. You can cancel their responsibility for completing tasks during a particular session by clicking on it, selecting the responsibility option, deleting their responsibility here, clicking Save, and then choosing only this event when prompted. Notice that the cross that previously appeared through this Sunday's task session has been removed. Having cancelled Angie's responsibility for completing Eileen's tasks during this session, Platt will look for an event that can be matched to it. If no suitable event can be found, an alert will be raised a few days before the session is due to take place. Third-party responsibility for med sessions works in exactly the same way. I'm going to return to planning mode and then record Angie as having responsibility for delivering Eileen's medications on Sunday as well. As things stand, none of Eileen's task sessions have a matched event. With the exception of the crossed out sessions where Angie has responsibility, the associated tasks will not be completed until some suitable events have been scheduled. Let's start by scheduling the morning tasks. I'll click here at 8 AM on Monday to begin setting up a morning event for Eileen. Set this event to repeat on Monday to Saturday and choose an available care worker. Notice this list of tasks. You might remember that historically Platt has provided an Add button here, enabling you to directly assign a list of tasks to each event. This is still the way things work for service users without a care plan. However, as Eileen does now have an active care plan with her tasks managed through sessions instead, things work a little differently. Instead of using an Add button against individual events, we've defined Eileen's task requirements through her care plan, which, as we've already seen, has resulted in a number of task sessions being scheduled. In the background, fully automatically, Platt has been attempting to match these task sessions to a suitable event where the associated tasks can be completed. As this event that we are scheduling now is due to begin at 8 AM on Monday, this is deemed to be a suitable match for Monday's morning task session, so a provisional match has been made for us before this event is even saved. The tasks from that morning session are listed here to indicate what the care worker will be doing if this event and the corresponding task session match are confirmed. Along with the 4 tasks from Eileen's morning task session, you'll notice a 5th task listed here, administer 3 meds. As well as the match to Eileen's morning task session, Platt has made a provisional match between this event and her morning med session, and is indicating here the number of meds that the assigned care worker will be administering if this event and the corresponding med session match go ahead as planned. Everything looks good, so let's save the new event and see the effect this has on Eileen's calendar. Notice how there are no longer blue boxes for the med sessions or task sessions on Monday to Saturday mornings. This is because these sessions are now matched to an event. See how the 8 AM events that we have scheduled on these days have their own pill and cup icons. This indicates to us that med and task sessions are matched to these events. A summary of the matched med session is shown when hovering the mouse over the pill, or we can click on it to see the full details of the corresponding meds. Likewise, to see the number of tasks due to be completed during the event, we can hover over the cup icon or click on it to see full details. Notice how the task session dialog now indicates the time and assignee of the event that the session has been matched to, and the green tick and red cross buttons can now be clicked. However, if we attempt to do this, we are told that we cannot mark a task as complete or unable to complete until the matched event has begun. Let's turn our attention now to Eileen's afternoon tasks. As I begin scheduling an event between 11:30 and 1 on Monday, it is provisionally matched to the afternoon task session, as confirmed by the appearance of the Accompany to Community Centre task here. Notice also that only 1 med is due to be administered, rather than the 3 meds that we saw against Eileen's morning event. This is because this new event is being provisionally matched to her lunchtime med session, and Eileen has only 1 lunchtime medication. As before, we'll set the event to repeat on Monday to Saturday and assign an available care worker. Upon saving this event, we see confirmation of its match to Eileen's lunchtime sessions through the appearance of the pill and cup icons here. So far, all matching of events to medication and task sessions has happened automatically. The process for this is simple. Platt will match the event that falls closest to the ideal session time. The only restriction is that earlier events will only be considered a suitable match if they finish less than 2 hours before the time of the session, and later events must start less than 2 hours afterwards. Notice how Friday's morning event can be moved 30 minutes later, while continuing to be matched to the morning med and task sessions. But if I move the event 30 minutes further on, 2 hours after the session's ideal start times now, it is no longer considered to be a suitable automatic match for those sessions. As there are no other suitable events, the sessions become unmatched. This 2-hour window is fixed. However, in the hopefully rare case where it is necessary to override it, you can set up a manual match between a med or task session and an event by dragging the session onto the event like this. For matches that have been set up manually, the cup or pill icon will flash yellow to indicate this. And if we click on this flashing icon to see full details of the match session, the fact that the event has been manually matched will be noted here. To unmatch a manually matched session, click here. The Unmatch button is not provided in the case of an automatic match. If I move Friday's morning event to 4 p.m, you will notice that the match is lost, and any attempt to manually match is rejected. This is because the event is now considered to start too late even for a manual match to be allowed. Surely morning tasks relating to breakfast and getting the service user out of bed should not be performed at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The limit on how much later or how much earlier than the task session an event can be while still allowing it to be manually matched is configurable. Visit the Care Plans tab of the relevant organisation where you will find this Manual Task Session Match Cutoff setting. One final point about matches between sessions and events. Although this should only occur in exceptional circumstances, it is possible for one event to have two matched task sessions, or indeed two matched med sessions. Perhaps Will is unable to start early on Friday, May the 20th, and no cover is available. In this case, we might have no choice but to cancel the event. And then begin the lunchtime event at 9:30 on that day. We can then manually match the morning sessions to this rescheduled event. Notice how there are now two cup icons and two pill icons on Friday's event. Shown in chronological order, the first pill and the first cup correspond to the manually matched morning sessions and the second to the automatically matched lunchtime sessions. We can click on any of these icons to see details of the corresponding session in isolation. However, if we double-click on the event itself, we'll see the consolidated task list with 4 meds, 3 from the morning session and 1 from the afternoon session. Every visit task will not be shown here twice. The care worker only needs to arrive safely and leave safely once. However, we can see that the morning and afternoon task sessions have been consolidated here by noticing that Tidy Kitchen, a morning task, appears alongside the lunchtime accompanied community centre task. Eileen's schedule is almost complete. All we have left to do is schedule an event or events to cover the evening tasks and meds. Let's add an event between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Set this to repeat every day and assign an available care worker. If we look at the task list for this new event, we see that along with the pseudo meds task, there are 4 tasks listed. But if we look down here at Monday's evening task session, we can just about see that there are 5 tasks due to be completed. To understand this discrepancy, let's see what happens when this new event is saved. Notice how the new event has a pill icon, indicating its automatic match to the evening med session. There is also a cup icon, which seems to suggest it has been matched to the evening task session. However, we can still see a blue box for that session here. In fact, the 5:30 event has not been matched to Eileen's evening task session at all. If we click on the cup icon on Monday's 5:30 event, there is no mention of evening in the session description, and no summary of the matched event as we would normally expect to see here. Let me explain. The task session that we're looking at here is not one of Eileen's scheduled task sessions at all. This is not her morning session, her lunchtime session, or her evening session. What we're looking at here is a list of the tasks that are due to be completed during the 5:30 event in the absence of a match session. Notice how all of the tasks shown here are either every visit tasks or flexi tasks. These are tasks that either must or optionally can be completed during any event. So if an event is added to Eileen's calendar that is not matched to a task session, these 4 tasks will always appear against it. You're probably wondering why the 5:30 event has not been automatically matched to Eileen's evening task session. This event is certainly within the 2-hour matching window, so it would seem to be a candidate for auto-matching. To understand why an automatic match has not been made, let's try to manually match the 5:30 event to Eileen's evening task session on Monday. And here is our answer. Evening cannot be matched to this event because it has one task requiring 2 care workers. The 2 on the cup here reminds us that at least 2 care workers are required, and if we click on the session we can see why. Here the 2 identifies hoist into bed as a 2 care worker task. If we want to cover this session, we require a 2 care worker event. Let's double click on the evening event and assign an additional worker. Notice how hoist into bed is added to the task list with this icon as soon as this becomes a 2 care worker event. I don't have to assign a named care worker to the second allocation right now. Platt assumes I will do that later and will raise an unallocated event alert if I fail to do so. Let's save this change and apply it to all events in the series. As they are now automatically matched to the 5:30 event, the evening task sessions are no longer shown. If we double click on the evening event again and remove the second care worker allocation, you'll notice that the evening task session becomes provisionally unmatched again. Hoist into bed no longer appears here, and we're left only with those tasks that must, or at least can, be completed during any event. For those organizations using runs, let's see what the effect will be of adding this event to a run. First, I will select a single care worker run. As we would expect, 2 care worker tasks cannot be performed, so the event remains unmatched to the evening task session. But if I choose a double up, our hoist into bed task can now be completed, so the event becomes provisionally rematched to the evening task session. Back on Eileen's calendar, we see this dark bar across the top of the evening events, denoting that they are now part of a run. The events remain in red because no care workers have yet been assigned to this run on the days in question. I will, however, leave this as an exercise for the viewer. Before we wrap up, I'd like to demonstrate the effect of adding an event to Eileen's calendar when all of her task sessions are already matched to other events. I'll add a one-off event for Eileen on Wednesday afternoon. See how this event has a cup icon but no pill? This is another example of an event that has not been matched to a task session, yet the cup icon is shown to indicate that some tasks have nevertheless been scheduled. Clicking on the cup reveals, just as we saw when our evening events were not matched to the evening task sessions just a moment ago, that all of the tasks scheduled for this event are either every visit or flexi tasks. Again, they are all tasks that either must or optionally can be performed during any event that we might schedule for Eileen. In the next video, we'll look at the process for recording task completion through the Platt mobile app, as well as seeing how this app can be used by care workers to see the contents of a service user's care plan.